welcome to Centurion's Corner, and today we are going to be fixing up Boba Fett from the Return of Jedi, the new deluxe figure. We're going to actually pull him apart a little bit. We're going to try and take off his helmet. I haven't seen it done yet. I'm going to pull it off to get to that face underneath there and apply just some weathering and other bits there just to really bring this character up to date to make him look pretty cool. So off we go. So what we want to do is just boil the kettle or just boil a pan up to some boiling water and just keep it on the simmer so it's not over to boiling too much and the water's going to evaporate because you're going to be using it quite a lot. So I just dunked his helmet in, and to be honest it's quite thin, so it doesn't take too long to start being able to manipulate the actual plastic itself. The idea that I had behind it, I'm going to use a dinner knife. I didn't want to use a really sharp scalpel or anything like that. I just want to try and craze the helmet around and actually try and nearly turn it inside out. I just wanted to get to that helmet so it's literally, I could see the glue on the tip of the helmet, or his head shall we say, just so it's an easy lift off the actual glue. So I just kept putting it back into the pot, putting it back out, getting a little bit further. Once the plastic started hardening, I just pop it back in because I didn't want to sort of like ruin the helmet too much. If it does squish down, don't worry too much about it. The helmet will go back to form once it is hot again. So as you can see, I just managed to get to the head itself. Unfortunately, I just kind of had the cameras a bit too zoomed in, but once it was there, just pop it off, and the helmet was really squished after it. Just be careful of that rangefinder as well in the actual hot pan. And then after a couple of seconds it will just revert back to normal and your helmet will be absolutely fine. Just be careful of that hot water as well, because obviously it's going to be held inside the helmet when you start tipping it up. Next up, you just want to reboil the neck part so we can actually get the neck stud and just pop it in and complete the figure once again, ready for painting. So here we are. Actually, it wasn't too bad trying to remove it. It was a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I was just taking my time. And yeah, I sort of flared out the helmet just slightly there, so it's no longer sort of like a bubble. The actual head underneath, yeah, we've got a bit of glue kind of texture on the top there, but it kind of adds to Boba Fett anyway. We're going to paint it up. We're going to remove most of this glue here. I'll probably just use a scalpel or maybe a bit of sanding paper just to get rid of it, but I'm not too fussed how it's going to look because it's just going to add to his scarring and other parts as well. The helmet is now removable, so it actually goes onto the head. Unfortunately, it's very kind of loose. You can look up there, you can actually see other resin inside there, how it was stuck on. But what we can do, there is a kind of like a sweet spot. Once you get it in place, it feels more kind of secure on the head than just sort of plonking it on there. So it's not too bad, it looks alright, and hopefully with the new paint job it'll look pretty cool. So as you can see, I'm not using my Tamira paints. These are just normal artistic paints, and actually these are pretty good. They're not good for painting a whole figure completely, but they're good enough just to add extra little details into certain areas, which is what we're going to be doing with this Boba Fett. So I sanded his head down. Unfortunately, I started painting for some reason, and then I realised that I needed to sand his head, so that's why he's a little bit more redder than normal. I put a red base down over his kind of face with a bit of pinkage, just to get that kind of sort of baseness down, and then afterwards I kind of found a skin tone that I was happy with actually combining those paints together, and that's why I use these artistic paints rather than the Tamira paints for painting faces as well, because they're easier to mix, a lot easier. Once I was happy with the skin complexion, just started adding the details. So the whites of the eyes I do first. I think they do say about actually painting black first. So go on YouTube, go out there. I'll put in the description down below which kind of YouTube I have gone to before to sort of like practice learning faces from. And I just extended my own kind of sort of detailing from there. From then on, I've just gone around adding the extra details, so the silver of the feet, etc. Right, so the paint apps are mainly taking place now. We have the face, that's done. I have done a black wash as well over his undersuit, and I'm just adding an extra kind of yellow that goes underneath the sort of like battle scarred green armour. So then we're just going to put the yellow and then reapply the silver over the top. So here he is, Boba Fett, all finished and weathered, and looking 10 times better than what I got him out of the packet yesterday. And I've been looking at the comments on my YouTube and Instagram, and a lot of people have actually sort of like shared out the story as well. Just it's getting a lot of hate, and I can understand why, because a lot of people don't necessarily have the skills and whatnot to bring this guy up to scratch. And I just think for Hasbro it was a poor attempt, and I think they knew it as well, because they haven't released any official images of this guy as of yet. But the perfect thing of this figure is actually he is there. He does look amazing. With a little bit of tender loving care, this guy can really shine out. And yeah, I'm really glad that I've actually sort of tackled him to bring him out of his shell in a way. So what I did just say after the review, I had a look at the helmet and I thought it just needs to come off. We need to have a look at it, and a little bit of tender loving care, and it did take a little while, but I eventually did get it off. And yeah, it just, you know, with the helmet coming off straight away, it kind of sort of like expanded. So we actually got this nice kind of like square jaw now, rather than how it was before. It was a bit like a matchstick end, you know, a bit of a bubbled head. So now we actually brought those cheeks out, and we're getting that kind of symmetrical down the side, and it looks superb. So what have I added to this figure really? Well, first of all, just for a little quick thing, with the actual Scorch Blaster, I just added a bit of orange, a little bit of a black wash in there, just to give it a bit more of a melting look on that part. But the main part really is actually up the figure and the helmet itself. So after taking it all off, we can see that the helmet has expanded. Unfortunately, the rangefinder, this part here, I was kind of thinking taking it off and put it back on, but I'm not too fussed about it. I might even just take it off at a later date and glue it all into place, because I'm not really too fussed with the rangefinder of moving. But at the moment I've not played enough with the figure, so I don't want to sort of hinder it too much, just in case I want to take some photos. So with the helmet, we have gone over, we've re-weathered the actual helmet itself, leaving most of the original weathering on there. They did miss the sort of like the dented helmet kind of thing. The actual silver was slightly off, so we filled that all in. On the side and on the back, we've added more kind of silver markings and stuff and scratches and stuff just to bring it in line. And what I do, I use the Cosplay 501st. It gives you a nice sort of 360 kind of look at the helmet without it being all grainy and films, so we can actually get those extra details in there. I've also added the little red kind of mark in his right hand side, triangle thing above his T-visor there, and added the silver on that little stub that he does have on the side of his helmet. So now we can actually remove the helmet and reveal the actual Morrison helmet or head underneath. Now this is my third face kind of paint. Now I'm not the best out there. There's going to be people out there that's going to put me to shame and stuff like that. I still haven't got the eyes in it. I do it very basic, but just enough to give it off the effect that you can get. But yeah, I'm chuffed with it. It looks alright. The actual glue on the top of the head is actually kind of added to a bit of nice kind of scarring as well on there. So it is a bald head. Inside the helmet we have still got a bit of resin and stuff in there. I was going to think about getting it out, but it adds a bit more of a sort of padding to the helmet, so it actually fits his head still as well. It kind of acts as a sort of a bit of padding in there. It is a little bit wobbly now, the helmet, but we don't lose the articulation, and there is a sweet spot where the head used to sit inside that resin, so once it's in there it feels a bit snug. So as well, we've added the yellow as well to the underscoring of the armour. So his armour's originally like Beskar, and then he's painted it kind of yellow over the top and then painted it green, so you kind of get that three sort of tier layered effect. So we've added the yellow on there, which is a shame that they didn't have it on there originally. Added the red in the LED as well, and yeah, it's looking pretty cool. Added extra sort of silver on the notches on his shoulder, and also on the back added extra silver kind of weathering on the backpack, and painted these parts as well silver on those little tips. So we can take this off, and underneath it just reveals a little bit more of the back, which is slightly more weathered and also with a few bits of scoring as well. Painted a little notches down here, a little bit of silver just to bring out the detail slightly. And then on the main things is the gauntlets. Added more silver weathering and scrapes, a few other little silver details, and also painted his number pads with the red and blue buttons on there, and painted the tips for the sort of silver flamethrower part. On this side it just needed a bit more sort of black details on here. There's a little black clip and a black switch thing here, just in the inside of his gauntlet as well. Let's just take that gun off. There's like a little bit of black here and on the tip, silvered off the sort of kind of connectors with a little bit of black trimming with a little bit of a gold wash as well, just to sort of bring out the details as well on his tubes. Carried on the dents down there with the yellow. Added the extra red that should be on his kind of extra accessories in his pockets, and then added the silver and the black to his boots on the inside as well. And yeah, it just adds all those extra details on there, and what is pretty cool. It's just a shame with Hasbro, like they give us these heads, and I wish they would just print them in kind of like a flesh tone plastic. I can understand where they're going, like, guys, it's there, if you want to get to it you can. Unfortunately for £20 we can't give you a painted head, so we glue the helmet on for the people that don't have the skills, but if you necessarily have the skills it is there for you to go and paint. It just seems weird that they just paint it in grey and leave the head there, which is a massive shame, to be honest. So you know, I wish Hasbro just release them in a flesh tone colour, so we can just add on the extra parts and whatnot. So yeah, he's looking fantastic, I do say so myself. He looks really cool, and there has been a lot of hate out there, and I understand why, but give him half the chance and this guy absolutely looks fantastic. So thank you so much for joining me in this one, and thank you so much as well for all the comments and everything for the review yesterday. I haven't really sort of been out and about on YouTube or Instagram because I have been so busy in my personal life with work, etc. But hopefully in a few weeks we'll be back on track. And I find it really hard to get Clone Troopers at the moment. Everything seems to be sort of getting cancelled or or whatnot. So I'm really struggling to get some clone bodies as well. So you will see more clones at one point. And something else. Oh yeah, I was going to add the grappling hook on this guy. So if you follow me on Instagram, which is in the description down below, at one point I will be upgrading his kind of grappling hook. So I won't do a video for that, but you will see that on there if you want to follow me. And also you can subscribe and ding that bell so you don't actually miss an episode in the future. And you can comment down below. Do you think this guy looks fantastic now? Are you sort of changing your mind because he could actually look pretty cool? I think if you left the head on and just put him in a bit of hot water, it would actually pop this bit out the bottom to make him look a lot better in the stock figure. But you know, hopefully some more people out there will try it, so we'll soon see. So again, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.